Alright guys, here we are, Destroy All Humans. Now I do want to be clear, even though this is a top 10 list, it's not really from best to worst or worst to best. I think all these games are fun and brilliant in their own right, and would love to see any of them and all of them on the Switch. So this came out in 2005. Now to be clear, this is not the 2005 version. This is the remaster, which you can actually try. It's on the PC, Xbox One, and PS4, and there is a demo right now. That's what this is actually, and you can give this a shot. And the reason it is on the list is because it's just hilarious. The game is ridiculous. It's open world. You can go around. There's this is a beautiful forest here, as you can see, but there's also cities and other things. You'll have alien weaponry, laser guns, different things that you can do. I don't want to give away too much, because if you do decide to try this, part of the fun is just exploring and finding all the things you can do. And you basically hate humankind. But you're also not too bright, because you think when you first get here that the cows are actually the humans. So, brilliant game. Absolutely love it. I'm going to let you watch a little bit more gameplay until we get to the next game. Oh yes, you can throw chickens too. So before you get too upset, no actual animals were hurt in the making of this game or this video, so just FYI. Alright, this is absolutely brilliant game. Graphics didn't hold up too super well, I'm not gonna lie, but the game is just so fun and so ridiculous. You have a shark gun that you can actually shoot at people. This was done in 2003 by Planet Moon Studios, and it's LucasArts actually put this out. Remember back when they were making just silly games? But this is just an absolutely ridiculously silly, fun game. I mean, I went around just leveling the entire place with mines and different things. You can put old school cheats in it if you want God mode or invincibility and stuff like that. And say what you want about cheats. There was some fun stuff. Big head mode and lasers and different things like that. This had a lot of them. But just a brilliant game. This was on the Xbox, and this is the PC version that you're seeing right now. And I definitely recommend, if you haven't tried it, I think it's on GOG. I believe it's on Good Old Games. Might even be on Steam. I'm not sure. But brilliant game, and I would love to see this on Switch. I mean, I think the Switch is brilliant for games like this and for open world games. And the humor on this, think Monty Python. It's absolutely hilarious. Some games try to be funny and they're not. This one is actually hilarious. I found myself just crying more times than not with tears of laughter. Of course, Fable Anniversary. I know this wasn't really... this did get a lot of love. But this is one of those games I would love to see on our handheld. Now, I don't know what the politics of this is. I don't know how easy that would be. I know Microsoft's put some things of theirs on the Switch, or allowed it to happen, because Microsoft doesn't have a handheld. They don't plan on having a handheld. But I just love Fable, and I would love to see the original, or any of them really, on the Switch. And rumor has it there's going to be a Fable 4, so that would be fantastic. But yeah, so that's why this made this list. This came out in 2014 on the Xbox, and I played this thing to death. I tried being evil, I tried being good. And this is one of those things where it did, what you did really did have consequences. People would love you or hate you. They either boo you or cheer, and you could have a family, and you could... There's so many things you can do. Rumor has it you could kill your family. I didn't do that. But just a brilliant game. Brilliant game. And really, I think the first one was my favorite, even though Fable 2 was really good. And Fable 3 was fine, but I like the aesthetic of Fable 1. I would love to see a remaster. So that's my 2 cents. Let me know if you guys are Fable fans. It's okay if you're not. You don't have to be, but I love sword and sorcery, and all the stuff they allowed you to do. You can get buff. You can get, you know, if you just used magic and you were evil, you got like veins or these weird looking. It was really, really just. I sunk way too many hours. In fact, probably after this, I'm gonna go play again on my PC. But like I said, would love to have this as a handheld game on the Switch, because this is an older game. You can tell a little bit. But can you imagine it remastered on our handheld and just kind of running around and taking out bad guys and all that stuff, taking out some bandits. You can see I'm kind of buff. You don't start off buff. You start off as a kid. But brilliant game. Definitely one I want to see. Okay, now I need to say this is Fallout 4, sort of. Everything you're seeing here is actually me playing it, so this is all live gameplay. So if I die and I suck, it's because I because it's live, it's real. This isn't some kind of B-roll or whatever. But this is a modded version of it. The characters don't quite look this good. You know, those who have played any of the Elder Scrolls games, and by the way, I'd love to see any of those on here, but or any of the Fallout games, know that the way their characters look isn't the best, so I tend to mod the snot out of it. So everything else is the same except for the character, particular female. This is the anime mod. Because I've played this game, I've beaten it before, and I just wanted to go back and just kind of be silly with my laser pistol and anime character and all that. But brilliant game. Skyrim was on here. I don't see why they couldn't do Fallout. And Outer Worlds, it wasn't a perfect port, but it is fun on the Switch, in case you're wondering. Not getting the best reviews, I think. At least the Switch version, the console version is, of Outer Worlds. So it's the closest we have to Fallout 4, so if you have a GameFly membership, check it out. I don't know, maybe try to find it pre-owned, because people seem to love it or hate it. But I'd love to see Fallout. Love to see this game on the Switch. Obviously it's not going to be modded, but it's brilliant either way. And really any of the Fallouts. If we can get Fallout 3 or Vegas. I was going to say 1 or 2, and those are cool, but those are, you know, more top-down tactical. This is the first. In fact, when 3 came out, people were worried. They were like, oh, it's not going to be Fallout, it's going to suck. And then when it came out, they were like, this is brilliant. So Fallout 4, by the way, this came out in 2015. So not too old. And they did have it on the 360 for those thinking, oh, the Switch can't handle it. No, the Switch can handle a lot more than people give it credit for. So, and it's not on this list, but I wouldn't mind seeing Grand Theft Auto 5 on here either. I don't know. I think it's kind of fun running around and, you know, being goofy. I love this handheld. I'm just saying, and I love the fact that you can play all these great games. Now, this one is from '98. This is Heretic II. This is where, I don't know how many people know of this game. I think Heretic you can still get. Heretic 2 is really hard to find. I found my old disc and was able to get it to work through some magic. But this is a brilliant game. It's a third-person game. Obviously the sequel to Heretic. You can see you can push furniture around. Very gory, very action-packed, a lot of puzzling, a lot of fighting. Puzzles aren't too difficult. And this was done in '98, so if you're wondering why it's a little blocky, by Raven Software. And it's brilliant. I loved it. I want to see this on the Switch. Again, enhanced, because the Switch can do it. And I think this would be great. We've never really had a handheld like the Switch where we can get these kind of console quality games. You know, even the older ones. So, yeah, Heretic 2, definitely one of my favorite games, one of my favorite kind of obscure games. You know, looking at my list, it's not as obscure as I first thought, but this is definitely one of them that I think is a little bit more obscure and really hard to find. Before I could find my disc, I was trying to find it on GOG, I was trying to find it on all these other ones. So if you know where to find it, let people know in the comments. You know, I'm sure you can go on eBay and pay way too much for it, but thankfully, again, I found my disc, and I did some research and was able to get it to work. But yeah, Heretic II, brilliant game. Ooh. I mean, how many games do you know that you can fire laser-looking things from your hands? Those are dark elves, by the way. At least that's what I call them. And you do get much better magic and some really cool spells down the line. This is pretty early on. But it took me so long to get this thing to run, and I didn't want to leave it out of the list, so it's early gameplay. I'm loving reminiscing, y'all. But again, let me know what you guys want to see. I'm really curious to hear what your top 10. Try to make them obscure. I mean, again, I know Zelda and Mario and all those definitely would be great, but some of these games would just be really fun to revisit and play on a handheld. Got him. They all dead ski.
It's locked.
Dead ski. Alright. You're probably thinking to yourself, you're showing a lot of this gameplay. Yeah, because it's, like I said, it's an obscure title, and I wanted to show you guys what this game looked like, how it played, and all that. Now, this is going to be really quick. KOTOR, released in 2003. Brilliant game. It's on everything. I'd like to see it on Switch, because I think Switch is absolutely brilliant. And that's all I have to say about that, because most of you guys know KOTOR. But I'd love to see KOTOR 1 and 2. That'd be cool. Morrowind. Huh? This is one of my favorite Elder Scrolls, I think just because I had so much wonderful experiences. Yeah, I used to sit there and jump. I don't know if you guys ever play Morrowind, you know what I'm talking about, but I would just jump over and over again so I could level up my athletics. And everything you did, you know, it leveled you up. Everything you did would grow whatever skill that it was, like if it was jumping or sneaking or whatever else it is. But just an absolute brilliant game, and this is slightly modded. Again, I just need to let you know that, so if you do pick this up and you're like, it doesn't look quite the same, well, you know, I mod things, it's what I do. But Switch could easily handle a copy of this, you know, that looks better anyway. It probably even looks better than this. But Morrowind, definitely up there with games I want to see on the Switch. They did Skyrim, they can do Morrowind for absolutely 100% sure. Look how nice it looks. And just out of curiosity, what is your favorite Elder Scrolls game? I would love to hear that. And I would also love to see Oblivion on this as well. On the Switch. I think that would be brilliant. Ooh, maybe both. Yeah. Alright, our next game Love, love, love this game. A lot of people knew what it was. It didn't get the love when it first came out. But, I mean, look, you could throw aliens off these huge structures, spaceships, things like that. You can dual wield. Of course, you were super strong, so you could punch him and just kind of knock him out and kill him. Just a lot of really cool stuff that you could do. But more importantly, the story was brilliant. It was by Orson Scott Card and another gentleman named Cameron Dayton. Of course, we know Orson Scott Card from Ender's Game and a lot of other sci-fi novels. Just a brilliant author. And he helped pen this script. He helped write this script. It was supposed to be a trilogy, but the game just didn't do well enough. It didn't have enough financial backers, and I believe when they were trying to come back, Majesco went under about that time, and Glyphix created the game, but Majesco was the publisher, I believe, and they weren't able to complete the trilogy. Now, don't let that stop you from actually playing the game, because it did have a pretty satisfying ending, even though I wish... Now, you can have different endings, too. I should clarify. But I do kind of wish that they kept going. I would love to see an Advent Rising 2, but just to have this remastered on my favorite handheld would be absolutely brilliant. I told you some of this stuff was obscure. Anybody can make a top 10 with I want Mario, because I do, but that's beside the point. Well, let me know in the comments, what do you want to see, and do you want to see another top 10? I have plenty of games that I could recommend. The Switch takes me, and to be honest, there were games that I wanted on there that I was going to put on this list, like Crysis, because that game is brilliant, and it actually came on the Switch, so you never know. They just released it, and it is a brilliant port, just FYI. Looks great. It doesn't stutter a whole lot. I mean, you gotta understand, back in 2006, Crysis came out, and it just brought PCs to their knees. The fact that it's on the Switch now is great. But anyway, back to this game. Absolutely brilliant. Highly recommended. In the meantime, if you have a laptop or a desktop or whatever, look this one up. And I would pretty much... I'd be surprised if you like action games and sci-fi stuff that, I'd be surprised if you didn't like this one. Especially if you're a Halo fan, because it does feel very Halo-ish, even the driving. So if you like driving the Warthogs, then you'll like the driving in this. If you didn't, I have bad news for you. In fact, the worst part was actually, there was a part where you have to drive a spaceship. It was the very beginning, and it's no big deal once you do it. But that part didn't feel great to me, if I'm being nitpicky. But otherwise, this is just a fantastic game. And I don't remember if I mentioned, but this is all live gameplay, so not a professional playing, it's me. I suppose I could be a professional, but... and apparently, I like to shoot things for absolutely no reason. Alright, next game. Being a big Star Wars fan, I had to have another Star Wars game on here. And just to say, before this, I talk about why this is on here, I was going to put Jedi Academy and Jedi Outcast, because I love those games. I love being a Jedi. That's my favorite Star Wars thing to do ever. But this is just a brilliant game. I mean, it would have been on there either way. Republic Commando. One of the great things about this game is the sound design was amazing. There's not enough said about sound design in video games. But if you've ever played a game where you get fully immersed, and, you hear footsteps and your bullets whizzing by you, and all these other things, then you'll know how important sound design is. And this had some of the best ever, probably still some of the best. I had an old style, I think it was a 5.1 surround sound, really cool for its time, but you could hear ships passing by you, bullets whizzing by your ears. Just fully immersive. Great game. It did say tactical. If you're worried about the tactical part, because that's not your thing, it's not complicated. There's like 4 commands, maybe a little more. It's been a while. But I only ever used 4, follow, stay, and attack. I mean, just different commands you can give. But brilliant game. Absolutely brilliant game. Pieces. Love seeing things fall apart. Alright, last but certainly not least, in fact far from it, one of my favorites on here. Possibly my favorite, but I'm not supposed to say that because, not a typical top 10. Kingdoms of Amular. Amular, I hope I said that right. Amular. Absolutely brilliant game. And one of the things that does kind of get me excited is recently announced Kingdoms of Amular. I forgot the definitive edition, whatever they're going to call it, on PS4, Xbox, and PC. I don't think they announced a Switch one, but boy would I love this on Switch. I know there's the argument that it looks better on, I'm sure it'll look better on Xbox and PC and PS4, but there's something about taking it with me and playing it on that beautiful 720p screen on the Switch. But this game was just absolutely brilliant. Again, a great story. I love sword and sorcery style stuff. Fighting huge bosses. The stealth elements worked. Everything that this game tried to do worked well. It was like a really good World of Warcraft action game. If that, just imagine that. You can see by the graphics it looks very World of Warcrafty. That's kind of where I get the World of Warcraft thing. But otherwise, just absolutely brilliant. The combat was fun. The stealth was fantastic. Really, really, just an amazing game. And as you can see, there's a lot of different elements where you can put into sorcery, finesse, might, of course, skill trees, a lot of different armor. And rumor has it with the new ones coming out, actually this rumor I think is pretty much guaranteed, that they're actually going to have another expansion. This did have one expansion, it was supposed to have more, and they were supposed to make a second one. But you can look it up. It's a long story. It would make this like another 30 minutes. But this game, they had to borrow money to make this game, and I forget the baseball player's name. I do apologize for that. But when they made the game, they couldn't afford to pay back the city that they borrowed the money from, and so it just kind of died. I believe EA has the license, and they're not doing anything with it, or at least they didn't. I don't know who's making the new game. Look for that. I'm probably going to announce that on Wednesday when I do another media rant. But as far as this goes, this is mine. Really, if you just gave me this game on the Switch, I would be happy. I would be done. You've given me Witcher 3, you've given me Crysis, you've given me so many great games, Nintendo, and not to mention your first-party stuff. This would just be beyond. Absolutely love this game. In fact, I want to go back and play it right now. As soon as this video is done and over and edited, I will be probably returning to the world of Amular. So, pro tip, don't get hit. Just FYI. So you get a magic, and you can easily switch between weapons, which is really cool. So if you want to dual wield, you want to have 2 daggers. It's really fast, or you can get a big sword, or of course the magic with fire, and lightning, and the standard magic stuff. But just brilliant, just an absolute brilliant game. I mean, I just ran around the world for a while because I didn't want to finish it. And anybody who's played it generally has the same feeling. It has an intro you won't soon forget, because it was definitely different.